We're just doing a mental what if exercise to see if the theory can be made to fit. So what if the description science gave us of the universe's vastness and expansion could be reinterpreted as the infinite plane of Earth? For instance, science says the universe is constantly expanding. Well, perhaps it means the infinite plane of Earth is constantly expanding, or perhaps never ending. Or their discoveries of it continue to go and go, and they never seem to be able to reach the end. The Voyager reaching the end of the solar system might mean that it traveled out so far that it's reached the end of the known lands ever voyaged to. It makes you wonder if the Oort Cloud might be some other boundary. The concept of planets and galaxies could be other land groupings we haven't reached yet, and other land systems we can't get to. What if the stars in the sky are just holograms or illusions or lights similar to the Aurora Borealis? Imagine if we are in a gigantic ant farm colony of many colonies that aren't connected. Perhaps there isn't just one moon that goes around the Earth. Maybe each phase of the moon is a different moon. Perhaps the moon calendar is showing us all of the different moons that exist. To get an idea of what I mean, think of a mobile that we put in a crib for infants, or those carousels that we see at the old carnivals. Also, have you tried this yet? Have you tried to define what the Earth is only using your own personal experiences and none of what you were taught by school or NASA, and only use what friends and amateurs have provided as depictions of Earth and space to make your determination of what everything is, such as 360-degree cameras that have been put on air balloons that go up 130,000 feet? But if we didn't have NASA defining what space was, what would we think it was? If we didn't see all the Hollywood films about space, what would we think space was, and what would we think the Earth looked like? Because using only what we have from friends and amateurs, it appears that the Earth stretches on as far as the eye can see in all directions. Now, I am fully aware that NASA and Neil deGrasse Tyson and others have provided explanations as to why that is, but again, reconstruct what we know by only using evidence not from the mainstream or NASA, but what we have on our own. And when watching the 360 footage, you'll also notice that you don't see any stars or space junk or satellites. You just basically see the sun. I don't even know if I've seen the moon. I have seen the sun. Black, and the sky is just basically black, and the Earth seemingly goes on forever. Anyway, try that experiment for a day. See if your perception changes, or see if you see that much of what we think it was from Hollywood, NASA, and school that trained our minds to fill in the blanks. But have we actually seen it for ourselves? And also, this is not me trying to sneak in some flat earth here. I'm more of like a realm earther and it doesn't rotator earther. So try to figure out how you could see if the Earth is rotating. That's always been my big thing. Is I just don't know if it rotates or revolves around the sun. And when you look around and you take away everything you've been taught and you just go with your senses, you get a whole entire new way to look at things. And then all kinds of other stuff start to open up. And that's why I like the whole flat earth thing. It's like a gateway to a whole new perception, because you start to say, all right, what is it that I actually see? What is it that I actually know myself? What can I prove, or what can my friends prove, or what can everyday people do? Because, bro, the shape is inconsequential. If it doesn't rotate or revolve around the sun, that is the most severely consequential thing. But even more consequential is if we're not even in space, if we're not even on a planet, if we're in a realm. Actually, even worse than a realm, because at least a realm feels magical. If we're in a machine, And that's what like Isaac Newton with the mechanistic universe. There's a lot of people that think we're in a machine. And the more you start to look at everything you can see, the trees, the ground, the sky, the ocean, the weather, it does seem like we're in a big machine. And if we're in a machine, and even worse than all that, if there is no beginning and there is no ending, and I'm not trying to sound poetic like the Alpha and the Omega, if there is no beginning and there is no ending, that is spooky beyond all spooky. No, being an eternal being, it's not all what it's crying. It sounds better than it actually is. Eternity, bro. But this machine, if this machine has always been here, forever and ever, and always will be here, and this is all that there is, if this is all that there is, this realm, if it's all that there is, and all that ever was, and it goes on forever, not outer space, but the land of the earth, if this is an infinite plane, and the land goes on forever and ever, like everything they told us that was outer space was actually Earth. But when I say Earth, your mind still thinks of a ball or a flat pancake or a circle. Look at it. If it goes forever and there is no end and there is no curve, but there is no pancake edge, it just is in all directions forever. Go to the beach. Now we know on the other side of the ocean there's more land. Well, at least we think there is. I mean, we know, like, if you go to the Atlantic Ocean, okay, Africa and Europe are across the ocean. Imagine, beyond the ice walls and whatever, if it's endless Earth. And when I say Earth, I mean the ground that we're walking on, not the planet, not even the plane. I don't even want to call it a plane. Like flat earthers want to call it a plane, infinite planers want to call it a plane. Just say it's, because a plane is still kind of finite. But let's just say this thing just goes forever. And that blackness in the sky, there is no space. This is it. If that's the case, that is, we'll never know the end. The endless mystery. The mystery is not dying and what lies beyond. The mystery is what lies here and how. I got off on a tangent there. What I mentioned about the beach, I said go to the beach. So I live, near the beach, and when I go there, you see the waves. But then when you look out, you realize your mind used to think that you're on a big circle. But if you take that away, you then see that your vision, it goes in all directions, in all directions, in all directions, in all directions. Like you think you're in a big circle. But it's only because you twirl yourself around in a circle. Like if you had your eyes open and you spin yourself around to see everything. Yes, you do twirl in a circle. But if you take away that you were told you live on a circle, you'll realize that there may not be any shape. I mean, if anything, it's you could see a square. You could see a box as in all directions. You're like, wow, okay, what is the shape of the room that I'm in? And the shapeness of everything kind of goes away. You'll see the horizon. The horizon will divide the below with the above. But even that, once you look into the sky, it's bizarre. It reshapes your perception if you look at it long enough. And the directionality of everything, of the spinning around in a circle, that shifts how you'll see it. And then you'll just wonder, how far does it go? And, the other part is, let's say we're on a sphere. Let's say everything NASA said is actually true. When does the Pac-Man part happen? Like I could walk around my block and I know why I get back to my house, because my block, it's not really a circle, but it goes around. It completes a circuit or whatever you want to call it. But how do you wind up back to where you began? Now, yeah, if you sail around the continents, of course. But you know what I'm saying. You've heard this argument before, and I'm not even trying to do the flat thing. Where I'm going is way worse than that. But so anyway, try to go to the beach, try to look out and see what your mind sees versus what you've been trained to see, because it does start to look a lot different. And then you start to wonder what the shape is, not the shape of the planet, but just what you're even seeing with your own eyes, let alone what the outside is. You'll see that just what you're seeing out in the distance stops making sense. Anyway, hey, if you made it this far, at the end, there's going to be those like end cards with boxes of videos to watch. I'm going to put 2 of them that I listened to this morning that were pretty good. I don't know if you guys heard them because there's low viewership on them, not many comments, and they really made my morning walk excellent, like listening to these videos I made over a year ago. So revisit them, especially if you got this far, revisit these videos because it may be the first time. Maybe it didn't show up in your feed, YouTube's algorithm. Anyway, just a thought experiment. May the force be with you. Have a wonderful day.